Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Please hit the sub button. We're sitting at 141 as I record this video today, so we're getting there. 859 or so to go. But anyway, please hit the sub button, leave me a comment and a like, and tell me what you think I've missed in this video and what you think I should have played to make the deck better. Anyway, today's video we're having a bit of a break. Frexural will be one who's still ongoing in my head. I still have a few more decks I want to do on that. They'll be coming up shortly, but I need to have a break from doing it at the moment, so I decided to do something a bit strange. One of the things we talked about on my stream was how it's nice if you have a group hug deck, and I decided it was time that I built a group hug deck, which is something I've never done on MTGO or actually in real life. So, group hugs. How are we going to do this? Well, we're going to start with this thing as the commander. I say thing, I should say people. Kynaios and Tiro of Meletis. Red, green, white and blue for a 2/8 legendary creature human soldier. And at the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Each player may put a land card from their hand onto the battlefield. Then each opponent who didn't draws a card. So it's the traditional, one of the traditional group hug commanders. And I thought, okay, so I want to make sure everyone's being friendly with me at the start of the game. I'm giving them things, giving them resources, and then I just want to turn up and win the game. How are we going to do that? So this is the deck I've come up with for this. As usual, go through the land base and ramp to start with. Yeah, we've got quite a lot of dual lands in the deck. There's only one of each basic. So you only got one forest, one plains, one island, one... should be a mountain somewhere. There's a mountain. There we go. And then I went down the whole dual land route. We've got command tower. We've got a few of the tri-lands in that gave us the lands, the colours we're looking for. Reliquary towers here. I have got Temple of the False God, but I've tried to avoid as many non-coloured lands as I can in this deck. Purely because we do need it. Thriving Birth, Thriving Growth, etc. So we've got a fairly decent land base. The ramp side of things, Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Mana Crypt, so it's not going to be a cheap deck if you're trying to build this in paper, unless you earn these already. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. And I kind of stopped there because I thought, we've got other ways of doing things, so let's do it that way. But the early part, the plan with this deck is in the early part of the game, we give people things, and then we win. So, one way of giving people things in Command is Hypergenesis. I thought this was banned for some reason. I had no idea it wasn't. It isn't. So, yeah, here you go. Suspend this for three turns later. Everyone just gets to empty their hands onto the table. Now, that may hurt you, but, you know, hopefully you'll get some benefit out of it. The other side is you can do Inevitable Betrayal. You could go and nick something from someone's library and win the game that way. So, they're the first two bits. Collective Voyage, one green mana. Everyone pumps mana into it like crazy. You get a whole load of basic lands. Now, obviously, we only can get a maximum of 4. So, and if, chances are we may have one in play, but, it's still a mana ramp spell. Helix Pinnacle is one of the ways I'm looking to win the game on the quiet. Sorry about that. X put X tower counters on it, and then if there are 100 or more tower counters on it when you're at the beginning of upkeep, you win the game. It has got shrouds, it's really hard to deal with, so there are a couple of things that deal with it, like we've got Farewell in the deck, that will deal with it by exiling it, but it's a nice little win condition. Back onto the giving people things, Magnus of the Vineyard. You play this, everyone gets a couple of green mana. They probably leave you alone, so they want to abuse the mana growth for a little while. Likewise, Veteran Explorer. When it dies, each player may search their library up to 2 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. I mean, there is an argument to take out some of the jewels over here and play a few more forests. Is something I may look at, but at the moment, I'm going to try it with the 4 basics. If we need more, we'll get there. But yeah, Veteran Explorer. Yeah, okay. Make friends. Cameo the Crescent Moon. Makes you more friends, so you get to draw cards before you do. Dockside is Dockside. It's a red deck, sorry. A little bit of search first with Nature's Law and free visits, so you can go and get the dual lands. Don't forget it says forest, not basic, so you can go and get Jetmir's Garden, the Triome, whatever you want that says forest on it, so they're quite good. Cranes in here, everyone draws a card and gains a life, they like you even more. Sterling Grove protects your few enchantments you've got. and it does get you the ability. The reason I've got it in here is a search effect, so I can go and actually find the pinnacle when I get there. Howling Mine gives everyone cards, they love you. No one's going to touch your Ghostly Prism. You're giving them all this extra mana and cards. No one's really going to attack you anyway, but, you know, a little bit of defence in the form of Ghostly Prism and propaganda. Lauren comes into play. It blows something up, which will probably upset someone, but if you give them a card when you lose your Summoning Sickness, it's all good. And then, you know, you can start making some tokens, and everyone will sit there and go, oh, look, he's making little tokens, isn't it cute? Then you can untap 15 and win the game. Yeah. This is where the expense comes in if you're trying to build it in real life. Time Twister's in here. You can quite happily take this out and replace with another card draw spell if you're building it in real life. But, you know, if you're playing on Limited Geo, go get Time Twister. Dictator Crucifix comes next. Another way, you know, this one's a little bit better than Howling Mine because you can flash it in before the start of your turn and you get the first draw off it, but then everyone draws the cards, they're happy. Jessica's Will, another way for me just to ramp up and get a few cards with a bit of luck. Dryad of the Elysian Grove helps us make our lands all what we need them to be, and people do tend to leave it alone unless you're attacking with it. Likewise, Growing Rights. No one really touches Growing Rights until it's too late. Rights of Flourishing. Everyone gets to play an extra land. They get to draw an extra card. They still love you. Search for Tomorrow goes and gets you another basic land. This is, you know, this is another reason I'm thinking about upping the basic land count in the deck. The deck list may have changed when you look on it, so bear that in mind. Fevered Visions is one of your little win conditions. Drops everyone down, but you know that you're giving them lots of cards to draw. It's going to be really hard for them to keep their hand 4 or less. So the chances are you'll be getting, you know, shocking every so often. Ludwig means you don't get attached. Attacked. I have no idea what's wrong with my language this morning. At the beginning of each player's end step, if that player may draw a card of a player other than me lost life. So you know they're probably going to attack other people. Salavala Explorer returns in here mainly for us. We're going to get the life from the card draw on the land. They get a card draw of it, but still they leave you alone. Hadana gives us a nice little win condition once we get there. Likewise, Broker's Ascendancy makes our creatures that we are going to have in play bigger and helps bump our Planeswalkers up as well. Timor Ascendancy, just for the haste factor. We haven't got that many creatures with power 4 or more, so that bit's going to be a bit irrelevant. But given all our creatures haste, when we're going to be seeing what's coming up shortly, you'll understand why. Horn of Greed, whenever a player plays a land, that player draws a card. People leave you alone with this in play. They like drawing cards when they play lands. And Temple Bell, everybody draws a card. Woohoo! Right, now we're coming into a little bit more of the winning stuff. So, winning side, we've got Miriel, Shield of Argive in here. This should help us quite a bit. Braids gives everyone something at the beginning of their upkeep each turn. And you'll be surprised how long Braids will last for when you're doing this, because people do like putting free stuff in a place, so you know. Venture Forth, just another way for us to ramp, and it can hit any land card, so it's fine. Garrick, just so we can untap some lands and maybe create some beasts to block with if we need to. Also, people will get back the -4, and that does become relevant at some stages in the game, in the deck. Supreme Verdict, just to control the board and give us an uncountable way of blowing the board up if we need to. Kaikar, Winds of Fury, is also here. Spirits are quite useful. We do have a lot of non-creature spells. I mean, we're playing 18 creatures in the deck overall and 44 other things that aren't lands, so, you know, probably get a load of spirits. Omnath's in. We do have ways of putting extra lands into play. And even if we don't, if we're just playing 1 land every turn and gaining 4 life, we probably stay in the game. Thonta Mythos to help draw the cards we need. And then we've got a few Planeswalkers. I've gone with Elminster from the Battle for Baldur's Gate set. The card draw is quite nice. And the Scrying, so, you know, sets off our library up. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Yep, it's actually really useful for the tuck ability, to be fair, the -3, tuck something away. But the +1 or draw a card and untap 2 lands does make people think you've got counter spells, even though we're not playing them in this deck. Yeah. But it is quite nice if you can untap something like Gavany Township and have the mana to activate it to save your creatures, so bear that in mind. Zertar Ancient, everyone gets to ramp their mana up. Another way of you being left alone. Mirari's Wake, our creatures get bigger, our land gets more expensive, so that's cool. Privileged Position, make sure that everything we have has hexproof, so it's removable. Privileged Position plus Sterling Grove does lock the board down quite nicely. Obviously, you're still vulnerable to mass destruction effects like Supreme Verdict, for example, but it slows down all the targeted removal, and it works really well. Gauging Honoured One. Yep, whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents or planeswalker an opponent controls, it gets +2/+2/+2 plus nothing till the end of turn. It means people are less likely to attack you. It's similar to it's like a curse on a beast. There you go, let's go with that. Sarkhan's in as well. Gives us a dragon if we need it, or we can draw a card and add a mana. And Kynaios, the Writhing Storm. I do like this card. This is one of my favourite ones ever. Just the ability to make them draw things, like Temple Bell, Horn of Greed, Font of Mythos, Arcane Signet. Once you've got this in play, you're going to get at least, in some of these, you're going to get at least one little snake every turn. Maybe 2, maybe 3. Yeah, I have got 7 snakes in one turn off one person once upon a time. So, yeah, it makes sense to have this in. Farewell, I've mentioned, is a really nice let's wipe the board and have done with everything. The only thing it doesn't touch is planeswalkers, so it does have a benefit to us where we haven't got many planeswalkers in this deck, but yeah, it leaves ones we may have in play. Shark Typhoon, another way just to make some creatures really. With the amount of non-creature spells we've got, we will be getting a lot of sharks in play. Teferi, Temporal Archmage, might as well hit this one and get the untap ability of the 4 permanents, just so we can ramp up even quicker. The +1's very useful as well, and yeah, if we can get to the -10, all well and good, but it's probably the +1 and the -1 we're going to use most with this deck. Approach of the Second Sun, just to give us a backup win condition. Well, I say a backup, another win condition between the Helix Pinnacle and the Halo Fountain. We've got quite a few. I've chucked in Nyx Bloom Ancient. I had 1 slot left at the end of the deck build. I couldn't think of anything better to play, and I thought this is quite nice. 5/5 that does all that mana ramp for us, so we might as well have it in play. Emergency Powers gives us a way to shuffle everything from our graveyard back in again. I'm not playing the usual Elixir of Immortality in here because we have this instead. And also, mana value 7 or less when we play it, to put it into play is quite nice. Maelstrom Wanderer, because why wouldn't you want a double cascade and give you another way of giving our creatures haste, especially if we can cascade into, well, basically anything down here. Then there's a couple of little surprises right at the end here. The Great Aura, I think, is a criminally underplayed green sorcery card, and in this deck it's really quite fun because you can just turn the game around entirely. If you've got some tokens in play from your Shark Typhoon, or you've managed to get ahead somehow, this will just turn the game around on its head, and it is just great fun, to be perfectly honest. And finally, if you're going to do that, you might as well have Omniscience in play as well. It gives you a really good cheap way of doing things and gives you a nice way of winning the game. And that's really it. That's my little deck take today on Kynaios and Tiro of Meletis. It is like I say, it's a fun deck. It does help your opponents out a little bit, helps you and keeps you in the game, because people don't want to attack you because they get 3 things from you, and giving everyone hope until you take it all very nicely away at the end is a great way to play the game sometimes. So thanks for watching. I really hope you've hit the sub button. Leave me a comment down below if you think there's any key cards I've missed out. I've had a few comments recently just talking about that, about I should have this card, should have this card. Yes, completely agree. I always respond to those comments, but some of the cards that have been mentioned aren't available on MTGO, and I do tend to stick more to MTGO at the moment. So thank you for all those comments. I do appreciate them. Keep them coming. Let me read them, and I'll respond to them as soon as I see them. But thanks for watching, and hopefully come and check me out on stream, and I'll see you there soon for a game. Take care. Bye.